For each lecture we have, I'm going to have a set of guiding questions at the beginning. And one thing you might consider doing is putting them in your own words, not necessarily writing them down the way that I do, but taking some notes on them, writing them down in a way that sounds a bit more familiar to you, and then as you go through the lecture, thinking about what you can do to answer these. I put these questions here because they're going to help us better understand not only these civilizations, but they're going to help us dig into the tough primary sources that we're going to look at a little bit later. So we're going to start with a weird primary source, a cave drawing from Chauvet, France that goes back tens of thousands of years. So first question is, what can we infer about the individuals in Chauvet, France by interrogating their cave paintings? Again, that's kind of jargony, so what you might want to write down is something more like, hey, what can we tell about the people who made these cave paintings? Right? A little bit easier. Before we get to ancient world history, what are the types of developments that are particularly important for our ancestors? If this class is a world history class about ancient civilizations, we also want to think about, okay, what makes a civilization? And I'm going to feed you a couple of defining characteristics. Those are particularly important so that we can assess what makes people civilized or not, but also because it relates to one of your first historical analyses that you'll be working on for next week. So think about those when we get there. More broadly, how do we know what we know about ancient Mesopotamia? What are our sources? What do they tell us about? Also, what types of things are important to ancient Sumerians, ancient people who live in this area that we're going to be talking about called Mesopotamia? How do they see the world? And to dig into that, we're going to look at two primary sources that you'll read excerpts of for Friday. One, the Epic of Gilgamesh, which is this awesome story that we'll read two small chunks of, and one, a law code based in ancient Babylon about 1800 BC, so we're talking about 4,000 years ago or so. So go ahead and write those down. Get ready to take a look at a picture and maybe take some notes on some images on the next slide, and we'll keep cruising from there.